Hi all, this is Joe Goulet and he's joining me today. Say hello.
For a short while, I have to leave fairly soon.
And what we're going to do is change the oil and filter on an R12R year 2017. This is a kind of maintenance that you can do yourself. It's something that's fun. You get to know your motorcycle, you get to take off a few body parts, not many. So I'm just going to go through what you need first, and then we'll go ahead and do the oil and filter change. So the first thing you need, of course, is oil. And what we have is a BMW 5W40. Yes, you can use other synthetic oils. There's a whole lot on the market. Just make sure it meets the BMW specification. For me, you can get the oil maybe $2 or $3 cheaper, maybe more. I just get the BMW one. Then you need an oil filter. Now this is a BMW oil filter, which comes in a BMW box. And it is made by Mahle, M-A-H-L-E. And they're a company in Austria. Just so you know, you can buy an oil filter for a BMW R12R made by, guess who? Mahle in Austria on Amazon for about 35% less than you can buy this one from BMW. Is it the same? Is it close? I bet it's probably almost identical. Then you need a compression washer. Believe it or not, these are made out of aluminum. They're either aluminum or copper. This is for the oil plug. A lot of people reuse them for the price. It's not worth it. They compress, so throw the old one out, put a new one on. Then for tools, number one, and I see this all the time, please use your gloves. Oil on your skin is not healthy. Tools. Use a oil filter removal. This allows you to put a ratchet in there and undo the oil filter. It also allows you to put a ratchet on and torque the oil filter. Which brings us to the next tools. You need a low torque wrench and a medium torque wrench. The low is going to be for the oil filter, and you'll be torquing that to 11 Newton meters. And the bigger one is for the oil plug, which you're going to be torquing to 42 Newton meters. Let's see, that's about it that we need for this. Oh, we need a couple of torque bits. One is a T25, and the T25 is two bolts or screws that remove the white scoop or spoiler on the bottom so that you can get to the oil filter. Two screws, comes off, no problem. And then we have a T55, and this is a slightly bigger one, and that's to remove the oil plug underneath the bike. So we're going to get started, but before I do, what I like to do is warm up the bike for about 5 minutes so that the oil gets warm, and then I let it sit warm, and that way it drains a lot easier. You got to be careful not to heat it up too much so you don't burn your hands, but you want it not cold. So I'm going to let it run for a few minutes, and then we'll move the camera, move the lights, get Joe in gear, and we'll start doing the oil change. Okay, so you're not going to see my face because that means I have to bend down, but what we're going to do first is we're going to, since we on the center stand, I'm going to lift this out of the way. So this is where we use our T25, and we are going to undo these little. Okay, and that should be it. And that's it, comes off. And now we have our oil filter there. So, all right. Now, one thing I mentioned or did not mention, you need an oil pan to collect the oil when you're going to drain the oil. So I heated the bike up and I looked at the temperature gauge on the GPS, and the engine temperature hit about 69. That's when I shut it off, so it's still a bit warm and the oil should drain out. So let's get around to doing that now. Okay, so I'm all ready to undo the oil plug. So what I'm going to do is I have my collector here, and I'm just going to loosen it here. Before I put it under there. Then I'm going to put this under to collect the oil, and I will remove the oil plug and let it drain into, and we'll just let it sit there and drain for a while. Okay, so she's still draining, drip, 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 drip. So in the meantime, I'm going to remove this, okay? And I'm just going to loosen it, this here. And there we go. Now, I'm going to take a break because I forgot to put my gloves on. So now, I'm just going to get a cloth, a little rag handy because I'm going to need it. And I'm going to, okay, and then just let the oil slowly come off. And I see that it dripped on the pipe, so next time I may just put a little filler there to collect that. I've let it drain here for a good 5-10 minutes, and now what I'm going to do is clean this area around your oil filter. Make sure it's all clean of old oil. Get in here and clean it off. Just in the edge. Take your time and get it nice and clean. Take our oil. Okay, and what we're going to do is just open it for a second, stick our finger in, and just wet around this seal here. You know, you don't want to put too much oil. Now I know a lot of people, when their oil filter is going upwards, they fill it with oil so that there's no gap for a second when you start the bike, but in this case, we don't have that option because it would pour everywhere. So now I'm just going to put this oil filter back on. And we'll torque it to the recommended specs, which is 11 Newton meters. So we take our small torque wrench set to 11 Newton meters. And we put our tool on and we can then torque it. There it is. So you see it's not a lot that we have to torque it. Now to get it off, sometimes you can just give it a slight tap and it'll come off. So, and then we don't forget to put the new bushing, new pressure washer. And in here too, if you look, you can see little metal filings. You want to take those out. There's a little magnet in there. So you want to clean all that out. And we'll just screw it in. One last clean once it's screwed in a few bits. So I don't have any oil dripping. And we screw it all in. And then it's ready to be torqued. That's 42 Newton meters. Okay, so under your seat, okay, there's this toolkit. 1, 2, 3, 4 tools. What we want is this. So we're going to take this one out, okay? I'm going to need 2 hands for this. And what you see is a tool like this, which if you take this off, you have a Torx on one side and a Phillips on the other, but you also have this funky tool. If you look at it, it's like, you know, when you were a kid and you had little squares and circles and triangles fitted in, it fits right in here, and you use this to remove the oil filler cap, which is on really tight actually. Okay, so I got this tool and this leverage, and hopefully we can get it started, which I did, and that's where we're going to put the oil in. It says that the engine has 3.5 liters and with a filter change maximum 4. So obviously we never get a whole liter out of the liter. So we're going to put 4 liters in, less a bit because there's some that's left in each bottle. So let's have a look at that. And we're going to do it really slowly. And I have paper towels handy and a rag under here in case of emergencies. So the idea here is a little bit of patience. I use a funnel and we're going to go real slow. We don't want to go too fast. We want to let the oil drain in. So we just take our time and we put 4 liters of oil in. So we're just going to put this back on. You'll notice there's a little clip, and that goes in this spot here. And we clip it, and the holes should line up automatically. So if you look in there with a light, you're going to see your oil level indicator. Now, right now is not the time to check it because we just put oil in. So it hasn't circulated through the engine and it hasn't gotten into the oil filter. So obviously it's going to show that it has too much oil. So let's start the engine and let it run a bit and circulate, and then we'll turn it off and check it. Okay, so now if we're looking at the level, we can see that it's just on the max after running for a while, so it's perfect. You can see that. I'll take a picture. Please take a moment, press subscribe to my video channel, YouTube channel. Every little subscriber helps. 1, 2, 3, and I'm like 100 short of 1,000, and that's my goal. I think I have 120 or something to get to 1,000, and I need 1,000 to start helping me out financially. So please subscribe. Now, okay, we finished the oil change. Everything's back together. I just want to recap and talk about a few things that is important to me. Number one, how do you get rid of the oil? You bring it to a garage and let them dispose of it properly. In Canada, they're not allowed to charge you. You can bring the oil. They get paid for the oil because people recycle it and resell it. So please don't throw the oil away. Number two, a lot of people make these videos and they go put the oil filter on, tighten it by hand, do a quarter turn more, take a socket, put the oil plug in, quarter more. I could do that, but there's actually specifications with torque values. So I don't pretend to be or know more than an engineer. And just like I don't pretend to know more than my doctor. So when the engineer says do it at 11 Newton meters, I do it at 11. And when the engineer says tighten the oil filler cap to 42 Newton meters, I tighten it to 42. Now, I guess that's up in the air for a huge argument, so let's not. Let's just avoid it. Don't leave comments about torque. That's what I do, and that's what's recommended by BMW, and that's why I do it that way. So those are a couple of observations. Again, just want to point out, you don't fill up the oil and then check it right away. You've got to let the engine run, warm up, let the oil circulate through the system, then bring it back. Put it on level ground, put it back on the center stand, and then check the oil. It should be right at the max if you put in the 4-liter containers without dripping every last drop. That's it. Hope you enjoyed it. Do your own oil changes. Save $100 a pop. Not that you have to change oil a lot on these bikes. I change it more often than they recommend. Only because I guess, being drilled into me from when I started in 1970 that oil is the best maintenance you can do to prolong the engine life. So that's it. That's all.